It's late September 2020. School had just started, and most of my time was spent playing on a Minecraft server with friends and talking about Pokemon or the new Smash character being Miku or Steve. One day, I was watching YouTube as I usually did when I wasn't on a Discord VC, and I got an ad for what looked like a 3D action MMORPG or something. I had my restraints for it. I thought, oh boy, this is probably another garbage phone game like Raid Shadow Legends or the plethora of other apps that could be barely considered good. But I'll give it a chance. And so I pre-registered for it. About a day after release, I thought, hey, wasn't there that one game? I looked at the Google Play Store and I realized it didn't download. At this point in time, I didn't know it, but downloading this game would change my life forever. This was just a little known game as Genshin Impact. It took a little bit for things to kick in at first for Genshin. While I was immediately enamored with the game, school still took up most of my time. I really only took the time to play the game after Klee's banner, however. My friends were major contributors to my time spent. This period would be a major honeymoon phase that would last longer than most other gacha games would. I loved the element-focused gameplay, and I thought the graphics and story were insanely good. Nothing really could stop me from playing, well, except the new Pokemon DLC Crown Tundra, of course, which I 100%ed the decks, but that's for another video. Not too long after finishing the Pokemon DLC, I would be regarded as an advertisement for Genshin Impact among my friends. I loved the game so much that I simply couldn't stop wanting people to play it. Unfortunately, of the 7 to 8 or so friends that I got to try it, or that had tried it on their own, only one still plays consistently. I would watch everything on Genshin, theories, guides, and the pity system. Grinding the game and even the standard banner, which of course isn't the best thing to do, but I was so close to pity and I really wanted Kaching. Finally, on December 23rd, 2020, I would get a 5-star on the standard banner. It was Mona. Obviously, I was pretty annoyed, but thought surely this won't happen again, right? Still kept playing, even getting yelled at by my mom for playing it on Christmas. Although I watched plenty of Genshin content early on, I didn't realize that the event 4-star weapon, Festering Desire, wouldn't be pullable ever again, so I only got R1. A term in Genshin that basically means that no matter what I did, the stats would never be the maximum possible. I still sucked at the game for about another month because I didn't really understand how to build characters, until one day happened. I was building pity, in other words, pulling because I could rather than if I should. I won 50-50 and got my second ever 5-star, Ganyu. This was a significant boost to my damage because although everyone believed that Ganyu's kit was for a support, the Hoyo dev team said, let's give her a gigantic attack stat and big multipliers, so she instantly became the best character in the game at the time, and I had her by accident. But why were you building pity, the non-existent person in my room asks. Well, person, I don't know how you got into my room. That's because I wanted Kaching from the upcoming Kaching banner. Sure, she wasn't a good character, but I didn't care. Thus began my grind to get Ganyu good and get primos for Kaching. I played a lot during this time, being especially annoying to my friends. I would end up getting a ton of pulls, and then it was here, the Kaching banner, and if standard banner wasn't foreshadowing enough, I failed 50-50 and got deluxe. This and then not getting enough for a 5-star on the Hu Tao banner. I was distraught, but there were still a lot of characters I wanted like Venti. Then things would die down. Even basically through Golden Apple Archipelago, which is still probably the best event Genshin has had. Soon after, a completely new location dropped, Inazuma. Throughout Genshin's second year, I was quite invested, learning so much and even getting to Floor 9 in Abyss. There would be the Hu Tao rerun, which I would fail 50-50, but I got Kaching. Luckily, 2 days after, it was my birthday, and my sister would buy me Hu Tao. Thank you for every character you've bought me till now for my bad luck. I found Inazuma significantly harder than every other region, which was pretty scary but exciting. Grinding the game to get the best stats was such a fun experience during this time. One of the most fun things in Genshin I realized I liked because of a little content creator known as Red Nasio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, who did a 100% of Inazuma, and it inspired me to do the same. That day I won't forget for a while. Sitting down for 6 hours to get each island to that 100% was such a good vibe. Unfortunately, something gradual would begin to creep in from here on. I didn't notice it until the chasm, but burnout on the game would begin to be a regular occurrence for me. I would still play quite a bit, but there were definitely times when I just wouldn't play. Then Golden Apple Archipelago returned and all was good. This event still has some of the best tracks for combat in all of Genshin. Thank you, Official Domain. This summer update is by far my favorite of all time and was such a good precursor to what would be in Fontaine, and probably some of Sumeru. But I'm not sure, I don't remember everything. That would bring us to the end of year 2, and it would be the highest my excitement for Genshin would be for another year. After all, this update would add mechanics to the game that hadn't yet existed and would change the entirety of what was the meta. A new element was added, Dendro. As mentioned previously, I really like Genshin's elemental system. It's unique and different from other systems in video games, and now they just added a new factor to this already cool and complex system. But what's that? It's even more complex and there are 3 elemental reactions? Sign me up! The launch character for Sumeru was such a good pull for me. He had charge attack gameplay but fast like Ganyu Constellation 6, but at his first version, so I would only need to pull him once to get a closer peek. And Dendro, the grass vegetation element, is really strong and was a major buff to a lot of the worst elements in the game. No, not you, Jiho. Hoyo doesn't like you. This character, Tignari, is a fun character and I still use him to this day. He had similar damage to Ganyu, but even better. And let's be honest, that was quite the crazy thing at launch. Dendro Traveler is also still the best traveler in the game, and Kale is mid to be fair, but she got outpaced like instantly. Oh, and the story? Really good. I'm still a bit salty they had to split it so much, but it really just meant that every time an update would drop, excitement would roll in. The Sumeru storyline is tied for the best regional Archon quest for me, but we'll talk about that region soon. 3.1 passed me without much of a second glance. I didn't care for Sino or Nilou, but luckily I saved because when 3.2 dropped, Nahida was there. My knowledge of what was possible for kits was transformed. Nahida is the best Dendro character by far. No, Alhaitham is not, because Alhaitham is mostly a damage dealer. And she does so much for enabling content and being cheap compared to other characters, it's not even funny. That being said, I would also want the Hat Man, but my energy for Sumeru's story was starting to wane and I was not really impressed by the desert. I hated it. So much. My playtime was dropping and I would not get the man I liked because I wanted his clothes in the Mona event in 1.2. This would end up being a downward decline of carrying and would peak in 3.6 when, to be honest, I think I only got on like twice in the second half and I still played for like a week in the first half, but I basically dropped Genshin after like 3 years. In fact, I had no interest in Genshin at all, and seeing people be excited for leaked characters felt pretty bad. I hated it, like as if I wasn't a fan anymore. Suddenly, however, in feeling that, there was a little fire within. I saw Farina, who I initially liked a lot but didn't think too much about. However, the thought of Fontaine and its ads was really getting me excited for Genshin again. So excited that I 100%ed most of Sumeru minus 2 forest places. They're still like 95% or something. In doing so, I found out that I actually like the desert more than the forest. Hot take I know, but the vibes and exploration were just better. Then Hatman banner came once again. Except Farina is a silly goofy with potential to be an annoying piece of cake, so I had to get her. I said rip on Hatman's banner and went back to grinding. The patch-long break that I took was extremely necessary for me and it revitalized my will to play Genshin. And now we end year 3 with a terrible summer event that was catered solely to hinting at the Fontaine story and enter France?
Oh, yes, what a gliding me fast. Bonjour, you fucking ass!
Okay, so Fontaine drops. I pull on Lenny's banner out of a haha silly because I have a problem. I get Chi-Chi, Pog. I don't pull more. But then 4.1 drops and my other friend, I call him meta friend, gets Homa and his Hu Tao now hits harder than mine. Shoot, okay, challenge accepted. Do not pull on the weapon banner, please. Of course I failed to get Homa twice and only get one Homa at the very end. So yay, now I have Nuvi book and another Skyward Sword. Oh, but hey, my Hu Tao hits 140k on charge attacks now. Recognizing my unintelligence, I just saved, until Farina de Fontaine would drop. Farina is easily my favorite character, and the best written character. Surprising, I know that the God of Water, the best element in the game, is the best character in the game. In fact, because I was able to get Farina to C3, I could finally get 36 stars in Abyss. I lost two 50/50s and spent money. I have a problem. For 15 cycles managing to handle the heightened difficulty, I was able to 36 star the Abyss. However, more recently they dropped the most BS Abyss with 4 waves of elites in 12-1. No, I'm not mad, it's only that it's a 35 star. Breaking my streak. Fontaine is the other region that's tied for the best storyline for an Archon quest, probably because Hoyo actually showed inner turmoil for both of them. Which brings us to today, right before another summer update that may or may not be bad. Probably better than last year's, I hope. Okay, so unscripted editor note, but the summer update dropped a few days ago, like a day after I wrote the script, but there is some new information for me to add just really quick. So, Nuvi was nerfed, and then unnerfed. CN community making change for the better for once. And also, it's okay. It's like an okay summer event so far. It'll probably get better, but it's only like the first few days, so nothing's really happened. For 2 patches, I kinda had low energy aside from getting Arlecchino and her weapon, which is cool too, I guess. But it really just shows that my energy for Genshin matches my graph for ranking in Osu. However, this upcoming update provides a problem that has existed since Sumeru, yet with Sumeru there was some leeway. Matlan is the upcoming region of Genshin Impact, and as excited as I am for it, there's something we need to talk about. The abhorrent representation of people that are not white or white passing. Despite taking a ton of inspirations from cultures around the world, Hoyo refuses to allow the people of different regions inspired by the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America to be properly represented. This is a serious issue. And it's not that one character can't have bright skin, but when me, a white person that leaves the house when needed, is darker than the new characters that live in the sun all day, I just don't believe it. Hoyoverse can do better. 10 characters in a 70+ character game being black is not that big a deal. Give them decent kits and they might sell well too. And as sad as it is, Hoyo may still not listen. They tend to be silent when people want better for the game. Only recently, with the competition of Wuthering Waves, has some of the long-time requests of players been initiated. Resin has been a big issue for a lot of players and has been a pain in the neck, and yet they still are being stingy by only adding 40 more resin. That, and the artifact system being as BS as it is still without being fixed, it's really demotivating. Not to mention the co-op could be improved upon and yet it stays quite limited. And only in this update did they add another endgame mode by also making Abyss worse, which is pretty rough when another Hoyo game has even more endgame and is much better. HSR moment. The gacha is insanely frustrating and predatory too. Please don't spend money because right now there's a boycott for Hoyoverse games and spending money still supports Hoyo in their lack of good representation, and boycotting is one of the ways that we can make change happen. This is true for all Hoyoverse games, not just Genshin. Despite the game having incredible writing, characters, character designs, and gameplay, most of the frustrations with the game make it incredibly demotivating for me and others to play consistently. And with Natlan, while I may not be the best person on this subject, I can say that making a character based off of a deity that is black be a white animal boy band character, I just don't think that's really that cool or good. And as much as Hoyo loves to claim that they like immersive games for people to play and experience, this type of thing legitimately ruins that immersion, for me and many others. Oh, and to anyone who wants to add to this, feel free to comment, but please be respectful, I beg you. Anyone that also wants to do something to hopefully create change can do so by signing the petition in the description and sending feedback to Hoyoverse. But when doing this, remember to be respectful and come from a place of love rather than oh, this character sucks because X reason, so fix it, stupid, or something along those lines. Being a jerk won't get change. And don't forget that this is a problem. I see you screaming about Kaveh coming back, but don't let this excitement of a character returning make you forget that this is a real thing that's happening. Genshin Impact is a really cool game that Hoyoverse has made, and it is really fun. Going from a person that only really thought in terms of shooters or Pokemon to a person that plays a plethora of games, both gacha and not, Genshin has changed how I see video games, whether it's for the better or not. To those that continue to enjoy Genshin, good job. And to those that have lost their fire for it, that's okay too. It's okay to just let go and stop playing. For a day, for a month, forever even. And if you're excited for every character in Natlan, that's fine too. Just please listen to others when they have concerns. Regardless of everything though, you still took the time to watch or listen to this video, and for that, thank you. There was a lot that I could cover, but I'd rather not go into further detail considering this video is going to be quite long for me already. But still, thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, bye now.